guys, so we're going to go over adjective clauses. Woohoo, so exciting. Adjective clauses are pretty simple. They're going to be much easier than your adverbial clauses for sure. But we still have to go over them to make sure that you guys are on point with it. So I'm going to say when an adjective clause describes a subordinate clause that's known to exist, then you're going to use the indicative. And when your adjective clause describes a subordinate clause that doesn't exist or is hypothetical, then it's going to be the subjunctive. So let's write that down. When an adjective clause describes a subordinate clause is known to exist, then use indicative. When an adjective clause describes a subordinate clause that is uncertain or unknown, use the subjunctive. So, I'm going to give you an example. So, I could say busco. No, that's not how you spell busco. Un trabajo que blank bien. So I'll give you a couple ideas on how to get this correct. If I say un trabajo, what does that sound like? Right? It's a job. So it's not the job, it's a job. Therefore, it's unknown. It's hypothetical. Therefore, you're going to have the subjunctive in the subordinate clause. So, how would you conjugate that? Okay. So, I'm going to give you examples where the subordinate clause is certain and uncertain. First one is buscamos el libro que tiene información sobre las ruinas mayas. And then an uncertain would be necesita un libro que tenga información sobre las ruinas mayas. So, I think you can catch my drift when you're looking at el and un. So if we're looking at definite articles versus indefinite articles, I mean, it's pretty simple. A definite article refers to a specific noun. For example, a definite article would be el or la, los and las. And an example would be el libro. which would translate to the book. So if you're saying el libro, you're going to be referring to a specific book. Now, if I looked at indefinite articles, it refers to an unspecific noun. Now, that'd be un, una, unos, and unas. So if I said un libro, that would translate to a book. So in that case, I don't know what book that is. It could be any book, a book. It'd be any book in a library. Whereas the book would be referring to a specific book. So in the case of eller la or los and las, this always refers to something specific. So therefore, it's always going to be the indicative. However, un and una, unos and unas, it's not always going to be hypothetical and subjunctive because you can define an unspecific article. Now, I could say, for instance, conozco un profesor que habla bien. Is that in the subjunctive or the indicative? Habla. It's in the indicative. Exactly. So I just defined the indefinite article. So I can have an indefinite article, but I could still have the indicative. Okay? But over here on this side, definite basically always equals indicative. Usually over here, this means hypothetical. But as I suggested up there, you can define an indefinite article, but you can't undefine a definite article, if that makes any sense. Okay? So I'll give you a couple more, I'll give you one more example each for a subordinate clause that's certain and uncertain. So I did 1 and 2, and I'll do 3 and 4. So the third one would be buscamos los documentos que describen el itinerario del viaje. And then 4, we'll do buscamos documentos que describan el itinerario. So in number 3, we have los, the definite articles. So that definite article los is going to define that as being specific, whereas the second one, number 4, buscamos documentos, we're searching for documents. We don't know what they are. They're not defined. So because they're not defined, it's going to be in the subjunctive and the subordinate clause. Okay? So I guess the next bullet would be when the subordinate clause of an adjective clause is a negative pronoun, such as nadie, ninguno, or a, the subjunctive is used. In the essay. So a couple examples of this. We'll use one where the SC is certain and SC uncertain. subordinate clause is the SC. So the first one, we could say, ella tiene tres parientes que blank vivir en San Salvador. And then the second one where it's uncertain, we could say ella no tiene ningún pariente que blank vivir en La Palma. So if it doesn't exist or it's hypothetical, it's going to be in the subjunctive. If it does exist and you have one, then it's going to be in the indicative because it exists. Okay? So that's basically it, other than the fact that if you're trying to figure out information in a question, then you're going to have to be using the subjunctive as well. So subjunctive is commonly used in questions with adjective clauses when the speaker is trying to find out info about what he or she is uncertain, which is basically any question. I mean, unless you're saying something like you're asking a question that you already know, but that's not very common, right? So if your SE, like an uncertain question, would be me recomienda un hotel que blank estar cerca de la costa. Would you recommend to me a hotel that is close to the beach? So you don't know what the hotel is, therefore it's hypothetical, and therefore it's going to be in the subjunctive, right? Very good. Great. So I'll give some activities now. First one will be quiero ir a un hotel que blank de 5 estrellas. También que vista del mar. The subject of number 2 is going to be the hotel. Number 3, me gustaría hacer una excursión que durar varios días y que me permitir ver el famoso lago Nicaragua. Number 4, mi hermano me dice que hay un guía turístico que conocer algunos lugares. So I just want to go over this one really quickly, because some of you might have gotten this incorrect. You might have been unhappy about that. So this says un guía, so there's going to be an indefinite article there, but I is very important here. I means there are, excuse my voice. I'm going to keep that in there so you can laugh at that a little bit. I is there are, there is. So if there are, there is someone, so that means that it exists. That means that they're there. So for sure it's going to be the indicative here. Okay? All right, and then 5, we'll do one more. Okay? So you don't have to listen to my voice anymore. So también dice que el guía es un hombre que blank tener pelo muy rubio. All right, good job, guys. We just finished up our adjective clauses. Hopefully this gives you some bit of a reminder as to what you've done last year, and hopefully it'll help us out on our upcoming test. All right, so I'll see you guys later. Adios.